Hello and welcome to another episode of the Changepreneurs. And today we have a very special guest. We have Major Paul Devassy. That's right. And welcome, Paul. And with me also on this podcast is Pushkar Vedya, who's going to be co-hosting this one. And just a quick one before we start picking up Paul's brains. Uh, is a little bit about this podcast. It's as you must have heard, it's gaining a lot of momentum. It's called Changepreneurs for a reason because we feature change evangelists, change makers, change enablers from all streams of life. And today we have somebody with a very interesting background. So we have Paul, who is a leadership and change management expert, trainer, motivational speaker, a risk evangelist, and what's more, he comes with a army background. So I want to do a quick introduction to Paul. I know Paul, there's so much to speak about, but I'll try and keep it brief so we can get into some deeper conversations with you. Is it okay with you?
Thank you. My honor.
All right. So, Major Paul Devassy is a distinguished veteran and an inspiring leader whose journey spans the military, corporate, and coaching worlds. Commissioned into the 10th Battalion of the Bihar Regiment in 1992, he served with valor in counter-terrorism operations in Kashmir's uh, Manshabal region. Is that right? Manasbal region and Assam's Rangia area. His pivotal role in establishing Ikhwan ul Muslimin facilitated the landmark 1996 elections in Kashmir, earning him the Gallantry Award for his bravery and leadership. After 6 years of exemplary service, he transitioned to the corporate sector and across different industries and bringing his strategic acumen to diverse industries such as hospitality, e-commerce, banking, manufacturing, insurance, and ITES across some very, very big names in the corporate industry. Uh, Currently, he's the CEO, the founding CEO of Iris Knowledge. Uh, and with his extensive experience into transformative coaching and mentoring, under his visionary leadership, Iris Knowledge has become a hub for impactful seminars, conferences, which are aimed at fostering growth and resilience. And he describes himself as a young coach with decades of life experience. So, and also beyond his professional achievements, Major Devassy is deeply committed to social causes. As vice chairman of the ASIS APAC board, the world's largest association of security professionals, he advocates for inclusivity and empowerment. His efforts to support the transgender community through coaching and training highlight his dedication to creating meaningful change. I can go on and on, but I hope this gives you an idea of the multifaceted personality we have in Major Paul Devassy. So, welcome again, Paul, and we are really, really privileged to have you on this podcast.
Thank you, Rajesh. I would like to make one small tweak in what you had spoke about me. It would be wrong to take the honor of having worked and on the evolution of Ikhwanul Muslimin. It was my unit, 10 Bihar, which was pivotal in that, and I was one of the company commanders who was also working over there. So it was my unit which did that main ground activity. These days, a lot of people are claiming glory to that, but then we know the truth.
That's very humble of you. Uh, Paul, when I was going through your profile, uh, clearly you're a man of many parts. There's so many shades to your personality. But I could see clearly there were three really phases. There was this one phase of your career which was with the army, almost 6 years plus. Was that right? 6 years plus, right? And then you got into the corporate sector, and you continue to be doing stellar work in the corporate sector in the area of risk evangelist, as you call yourself, risk and resilience. And then, of course, you are now in your new avatar in as a corporate coach, leadership coach, and a trainer. Uh, what's really has been the binding factor, if I may say, across these three distinct phases of your life?
So thanks, Rajesh. So I always would like to give credit to my seniors in the army. The first day I reached, obviously, I was the first time in my life. There was nobody in my family who had been there, so there was no prior experience that was there. And they told me something. They told me, "You are a second lieutenant, so we're going to allow you two mistakes." So I said, "Okay, what's going to happen to the third mistake?" He said, "Oh, we'll chop your head off." So I said, "Oh, okay." So, but I looked at it this way: I've got two mistakes that I can make. So that made me a risk taker. That is why I. So that is one common connecting factor. Army, I was doing well. I left. That's a different story. And then from there into the corporate, into risk and resilience, and wherein I've shifted different multiple organizations and now into the coaching world. So I think my risk-taking appetite is slightly higher than the average population of the world.
That's wonderful. And what I find interesting with that is that you also are talking about risk management, resilience. So it's also about coping with risk and security, and having that risk factor seems almost paradoxical.
Yes.
Well, just building on that, so
Mhm.
interestingly, while of course we'll talk a lot more in detail about your life now, did you make those two mistakes while in the army?
Uh, Thankfully, no. I
Okay.
made some small mistakes, but not mistakes worth getting massive punishments held. But otherwise, no. Thankfully, no.
Okay.
So, any interesting stories from that first phase? Starting with how did you make that choice to get into the army? What was your motivation? And any interesting story that you can tell us from the first phase of your life?
Yeah. So you know what? So a lot of people tell me that I'm still stuck in the past, but then I think those were some really crazy days, really wonderful character forming days, I should say. So why I joined army? So there was nobody before me ever in the army in my entire family tree. So I had done my graduation, and I was not exactly a very planned person. I was like a headless chicken. And so a friend of mine told me, and I used to like athletics. I used to like physical activity. So this friend of mine told me, "Hey, why don't you join army?" I said, "Why?" He said, "You don't have to sit behind a desk. There's a lot of physical activity, and you'll have a lot of fun." I said, "Oh, that sounds interesting." And I had read this book which left a lot of impact on me called "The Eagle Has Landed." There's a movie also. I read that
Okay.
book and it was uh, very impactful on me. And so I decided to join army, and I decided I must join infantry. So yeah, and that's how one thing led to other. I went for the service selection board. I got selected, and then landed up in OTA, and then life carried on. So that's how army happened.
So, Paul, for layman like us, you mentioned that you decided to join the infantry. Could you quickly tell us what are the different divisions? So, I don't know if I'm even asking the right question here, but when you said infantry, what are the other options?
So for a layman, infantry person has got the least amount of shelf life. You die faster in infantry. So, for example, in yeah, it's one of those things, part of the territory. So, well, there are some more crazy people ahead of infantry, called the para commandos and special forces. But I am a die-hard infantarian, so I will stick on to that. So, there are fighting arms and there are support arms. For example, the Kargil war, which happened, around 98% of people who died were in the infantry role, even though they were part of the different services, but they were part of they were doing an infantry role. That's why, and that's how they died. So life is a lot of fun. And I got commissioned, went to Kashmir. That was in 92 to 98. There's a lot of stuff happening over there. And yeah, a lot of people died. Uh, we lost 10 people over there. That means 2.5 years. That means every 6 months, one person died. So it
Oh
was
my.
intense. So I know I'm smiling, but those days But then if I remained serious, I would not have come out of it.
That's true.
I can't even imagine.
Yeah.
You mentioned something interesting about the Officers Training Academy. Any interesting story from those days?
Oh yes. So I landed up in Officers Training Academy, Chennai. So I was physically fit. I was rather fit. And I did not know, but I did not know how to swim. So in the Officers Training Academy, you have got tests which each person has to pass, and there are no gray areas. Either you pass it or you don't pass it. So the swimming pool was my Waterloo. So so uh, my course mates, we don't say classmates, we say course mates. They used to say that when you swim, you thrash the water so hard that the water gets separated into hydrogen and oxygen. So I I was given a warning. I was told that I will be not allowed to pass. But then it was mind over body, and then I managed to pass uh, that test. So that was something which was a big, impactful thing. And then subsequently, that's what. So because of my lack of swimming skills, out of a uh, out of 165 people, I passed out at 105. So obviously, I was not. I was in the bottom part. So and that time I felt very bad about it. But now I realized that that did not reflect my own potential. And funnily, after many years, after I left the army and I was in a corporate, I met a course mate of mine. He meets me and tells me, Paul, you have changed. I said, how? He said, now you're very confident in the way you speak and the way you conduct yourself. Things have changed. I said, yes, now I don't have to do swimming. So for me, life can change when a hurdle which is limiting you gets removed. So for me, that swimming was a hurdle which got removed, and then suddenly things started looking up, and I started thinking differently. And I find that a lot of parallel in my life. Each time one hurdle is removed, I see I can do a much more things better in a different way.
Oh, that's an amazing insight. What I hear is that it's not just about they need not be related. It could be like you said about swimming, but it has implications on something else in life.
It does, it does. So if you look back at people's lives, certain times they encounter situations, and those situations sometimes breaks them, or else it helps them become something new, something different. So it depends on how you respond to it. Was
Hmm.
it difficult for me? Oh yes, it was very difficult for me. Was I fearing relegation and repeating? Yes, all the multiple varieties of fears were there, but I managed to get over it. And I'm not the only person who has done it. That's many of us, but yeah, I managed to do it. I felt very happy about it.
Or do you continue to swim now, or have you given that up?
I've got a very close relationship with water. I use it for drinking and for taking a bath.
All right.
So, moving on, Paul. So, what was that turning point at which you thought that it was time to move on and get into a new space? Having spent 6 years and in the literally in the firing line, from and taking those big risks in life, uh, being the first in your family to do so, to come into a field where nobody had ventured before. What was at that point and the thinking that made you say that now it's time to do something different?
So it's very funny. At this point of time, when if I could have redone stuff, maybe I would not have left. But at that point of time, I was rather idealistic, and I used to look at life in shades of black and white only.
Hmm.
So there were a couple of things which happened, which I would not like to discuss now. But that made me think that, oh my God, this is black and this is white, and the black is more overpowering than the white. So that
Hmm.
is why I left. And
Hmm.
and guess what? When I came outside, I found that the entire world is gray. It is not 50 shades of gray, it is 50,000 shades of gray. There are no blacks, there are no whites, it's only shades of gray. So I realized that maybe if I had, but then I was young and I was not as mature as now. And has it helped me? Yes, it has. Uh, I only served for 6 years in the army. I left the army, but the army has not left me. I'm still very much connected, co-joined at the hips, so to say, very much in connected with all my army seniors, my unit. That is home. It always remains so.
Well, when you said this, I just remember our first interaction. I think it was October or September last year, when I told you that the only reason why I wanted to connect with you was that you had an army background. So, Paul, a question comes to my mind is that, I've seen and also experienced a lot of veteran corporate leaders who find it very difficult to transition from industry to industry. And I'm talking about within the corporate, framework. So, how was your transition from a defense background to corporates? I mean, I would imagine it would be very, very different.
Oh, yes, it was. It was. But then, uh, so so this was something that I read in my. I'm from Kerala. So in Kerala, student unionism is very much high in the campuses. So around some 15, 20 years back, 15 years back, I had gone back to my college just to see the place and all that. So on the walls, the priests who run the college decided that the political people should not use it for writing graffiti. So on it, it was written, when the pupil is ready, the master will appear. So for me, it was a question of being ready. So when I joined Corporation Bank, so so frequently what happens is that if you ask the right answer, the chances of you getting the right answer, I mean, if you ask the right question, you'll get the right answer. So I met this gentleman, Captain Thomas Paul, and I asked him, what is the role of security in the bank? So he said this, if you sell security, people will buy security. So I became a salesman for security. So that became my driving force behind me. That how can I be a solution provider? How can I sell solutions which is most sustainable? So once that was clear, then I understood that I had to study, I had to learn, I had to understand things, and I could learn by my own self, or I could learn from the experience of others. So I did both, and so that's how this change happened.
For the clarity of our listeners also, is this physical security you're referring to, or is it the IT security that all of us talk about nowadays?
No, it is the physical security that
Okay.
I was part of.
You mentioned in your profile that you are a risk evangelist. Tell us, what does it really mean, uh, and how does it help for us to become better at the way we manage our risks?
So a risk evangelist or a person on the safety and security profile in a particular organization, he is the person to whom the organization will turn around when the going gets tough. It can be a coup in Bangladesh. It can be the COVID which happened. It can be the tsunami which hit Japan. It can be Osama bin Laden getting killed way back. So at that's the point of time when people will come to you and ask you how will it affect your organization? So you are supposed to read the tea leaves, look into the future, do a guesstimate, and tell them that, oh, you know what, this is how it's going to happen. So it becomes a very and you each time you are it's your reputation on the line. You are saying that this is the way it should happen, and then the organization will follow you. And if they have a problem, then you are caught out. So it's not only me, the entire security population, the fraternity which is out there, they're doing that. This is what they do at all points of time. In fact, uh, on a jocular way, after this coup which happened in Bangladesh, security professional called me. He said that, can you tell what's going to happen in Bangladesh? I told him that be realistic. He said, what do you mean? By that time, I transitioned into a coach. So I started talking in that way. I said the entire intelligence wing of the Indian government could not predict what was happening. And you expect that with three persons who are looking at open source information, you're going to be able to predict what's going to happen. You need to take a deep breath and wait for things to settle. There's something called sedimentation, which happens, and there's something called sedimentation, which happens in actual life when stuff happens. So you have to read, you have to be able to look into the future, and you're supposed to predict what's going to happen. Uh, it's very exciting, but it can be a very burning activity too.
Mm. And I'm thinking that it's almost like a 24/7 job with the kind of volatile environment we are in. It's you don't know what's going to hit you tomorrow, and from which quarters.
Yes, it is. It is, and so everything has got an impact on something. There is this discussions, heated discussions happening between Taiwan and China. We'll get affected. You have Trump doing what he is doing. It affects us. At the end of it, there is some effect of it on the organization. The COVID was something which was a black swan event, which happened, and at the end of it, people turned around to the security fraternity, asking them to help. They did help with whatever information by learning as they go. They did it at great risk to themselves. They have done it. So you have to step out into the deep waters and not know what's waiting over there. Is there a alligator? Is there a shark? Or is there a whirlpool? You don't know.
So, Paul, how do you? I mean, I think I'm asking this from a very personal experience, and especially because you're talking about COVID. So, I used to manage or whatever, be responsible for a task force for COVID for my organization at that time. How do you manage all this stress? Because anything happens, and you would be the person people go to for solutions. And understanding everything that's going on, knowing what's happening, predicting. You did talk about predicting outcomes through open source information, but I think that's what you're left to do this time. So I don't know. I know it's probably a long response, but maybe if you could kind of tell us how you manage the stress specifically in all these situations.
So the stress is killing. You have to just smile and grin and bear and walk through it. And so that is, I cannot get away from it. But the good part is there are a lot of organizations in India, and there are a lot of security fraternity guys who are also in the same boat, and they help each other. They pass on advice like free. They give things that, okay, you know what, this is what we did, this is how we did. The amount of cooperation between organizations at the security field is tremendous, because you're not exactly telling that how to make Coca-Cola, or what make Coca-Cola, or what makes Pepsi. No, we're not talking about that. We are talking about how we can help each other, how we can manage the stress over there, how we can help out. So in fact, we had this floods in Chennai some years back. So at that point of
Yeah.
time, we have lots of WhatsApp groups. You have to just post over there that my person is stuck over here. Is somebody in that vicinity? And somebody say, yes, I am there. I can go there and help out. So we helped each other. All of us are in this together, so we have to
Hmm.
help each other. So that's how we manage to get through this trying times.
The power of community.
Oh, tremendously.
And I was seeing through through the various companies that you worked through. You worked through public sector companies. You worked with Oyo. You worked through Amazon and banking. So many industries and companies. How different do you see the uh, orientation towards security, managing risks? what's the ecosystem like? Uh,
Interesting. So the financial organizations are one of the most regulated organizations in India because of Reserve Bank of India, SEBI, all these things are there. So they're very well regulated. So they've got much more processes and SOPs, controls in place for doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That other organizations are not so blessed. So then you make, and India as a country, we do not have a lot of what should I say, rules and regulations for a lot of the security aspect of stuff. So then you have to be at the forefront and evolve or help evolve best case SOPs, what is going to happen. Like, for example, Henkel is a German company. So in Germany, they have got a lot of rules, regulations, stuff, which is very culturally specific over there. So you can't do a cut, copy, paste of it in India. You have to take the cultural nuances which happens and change it along. Then only it will become relevant over here. So why am I saying this is that you have to have an open mind to be able to understand the risks which are going to affect the organization. And at times, uh, security or the organization can be a collateral damage for the stuff which has been done. For an example, when I was at Amazon, there was Amazon somewhere in the world, they were selling foot mats with the photograph of Indian deity.
Yeah, this was a couple of years back, right? I think it was in the US.
Yes, it was much more than a couple of years. So it was way back in 2018 or 19 or something. It keeps happening. It keeps happening. So then effect of it is on the organization, and who is left to stop this stuff from happening to you, because people are looking at crowds when they get activated. They're not exactly the most intelligent of people, with all due respect to the crowds over there. So they just look at brand names. Oh, okay, this is Amazon. We must go and scream over there, or we must go and do some breakage over there. So there you understand that how interconnected you are with the business. So you have got, the more you keep your eyes and ears open, the more you have a peripheral vision ready, the more you are ready for being a successful in managing risks. Otherwise, you'll keep reacting instead of responding.
I think reactive instead of responding. That's a very, very interesting but very powerful statement because I think throughout at least my corporate life and experience, I think the difference between what the output is often based on are you reacting or are you responding proactively. So I think, no, thank you for bringing that up because I think for me, that was a game changer. I'm sure in your situation also, it would be the same.
No, it is so. So what happens is, so you had asked me a question that what security are you? Are you the info sec guy or are the physical security guy? Unfortunately, the physical security guy is looked at in a very, what should I say? You are the poorer cousin of the security fraternity. So there's a reason behind this. Typically, we as Indians, majority of us are fortunate to live in gated communities. So you have a security guard who's standing there. By no way can he compare to me, but he's also a extension of my. So people look at that poor security guard who does not know what to do because he's not been briefed. There are a lot of reasons to it, and he's on minimum wages. And or the security guard who's standing at the entrance of a mall, and people think that, okay, you know what, security means this. It's like a child learning ABCD and thinking that this is the world.
Mm.
People have written epics, people have written stories, And a lot of us have got blinkers and just keep concentrating on the fact that the child is saying A, B, C, D, and that's it. The world has changed. So it's an ongoing battle. I know that. So I am an evangelist, like I told you, like I warned you.
No, no, absolutely. And I think I would love to debate about with you about this a lot more because I think especially after working with corporates, you would imagine that you would understand the importance and criticality of physical security. I don't think even as you were telling me this that you get compared to the security guard outside your residence or your mall. I just couldn't relate to that. So anyway, so that's topic for another day.
Yeah,
But talking about security and today data security on a
yeah,
totally different dimension, sometimes
yes.
is probably even a bigger threat
Mhm,
in many
mhm.
ways, right? Uh, do you get involved in that, or it's completely led to the IT department, and and what in a sense is your reporting like, where in the organizational structure, how does it work from a security the role of security?
So, so infosec and physical security, there is an overlap which happens. Where ultimately, if you look at the infosec controls, there is this access control which comes in. So who owns the access control? The physical security guy owns the access control. And access control system is not something that you just go and plug it on. It's like you cannot take a Ferrari V8 engine and plug it inside an Alto body and expect it to run with the same finesse of a Ferrari. No, it will not. So it is a system. That's why it's called system. It's not that you just buy a piece of the access control system and plug it somewhere, it happens. No, it doesn't happen that way. So that is where we have to work together. So that is the working part of it. And the reporting part of typically of a physical security person, it happens to all sorts of reporting lines are there. At times they report to the facility head somewhere, at times to the legal head, at times to the HR head, and in the dream case they report to another security person who is sitting on the board. So we have a different set of what should I say models which are floating over there, which is dictated by their own cultural backgrounds and by their own peculiar requirements of that particular organization. And it's like having five fingers. You can't say that this small finger is not required. This is also required. So this is also required, and this cannot do the work of this.
Hmm.
So everything is required. So you know what? Some very interesting anecdote I'll just tell you. So if
Please.
you about this the little finger.
Hmm.
So we say, oh my God, little finger is the weakest finger. If you see, if you've seen all those Yakuza movies, uh, when you make a Yakuza member, when he makes a mistake, he makes a grave mistake, they make him cut off his little finger. So there is a reason why the little finger is cut off. Back in the day, when they used to use the katana, that is a sword, the little finger was the one which gives you control on the wielding of the sword. So when your little finger goes off, the chances of you to survive a sword fight drops. Now you know.
I'm
Got
going to try that with my sword now.
it.
Yeah.
So speaking of that, tell us something, the scariest thing that from a physical security and risk point of view in all these years, what has been the scariest challenge that you faced?
I'm assuming from the corporate security part of it.
That's right.
Well, corporate security part of it, way back in 2011, I was at Henkel, and there was a divestment which was happening. And uh, so, for reasons best known, people did not trust me with information. And when they were not able to move ahead, they came back to me telling that so the uh, so this Italian gentleman CFO, he tells me, Paul, I've got a request from you. I said, okay. There's this particular plant which is going to go off to this other entity. I said, okay, who's going to stay back? He said, no, everybody, right from the general manager to the peon down below, everybody is going to go across. I said, okay. Interesting. So now what do you want? He said, I want a running company, not a ruined company. I said that, so who do you think is going to give you some information back from that particular place? They said, no, we don't have anybody. So without information, you're running blind. So then we suggested something. We suggested that we, just like in the movies, we sent an embed over there, and that embed was there, and he used to report back, giving daily information on what was happening in the place. On the he was told that he's going to do a audit, and he remained there, and he continued giving us information which helped uh, formulate the way forward, which ensured that we had a running factory, not a ruined factory. So that was something which could have turned really sideways in a very quick manner.
Any more from in the Indian context?
In the Indian context, well, I can tell you a couple of things. So each time there is this, what shall I say? In India, we have got bandhs and strikes which happen. Each time a bandh and strike which happens, that means uh, for the rest of the organization, people can do a work from home. But for the security person, you've got to be in that particular place, and there are certain times 24/7 operations have to take place, and then you've got to devise way to survive that. I'll give you an example of Mumbai. Back in the day, Bal Thackeray died, and Shiv Sena is known for his own unique way of responding to stimuli. So the announcement of his death was on a Saturday, and next day was a Sunday, and Monday the work had to happen. So it was Henkel again. That means the factories, they cannot be, you cannot just switch off the stuff because certain reactions cannot be shut down. So then everybody would turn around to you. Okay, now tell us what you should do. So it's a very funny thing because there are people who are going to travel from far, and there is people who are going to be in that particular area. So luckily for me, I came up with this solution and it worked. So I'm not saying that uh, it was inspired, it out of necessity and out of keeping the limitation factors around it. I went with it. This factory was in an industrial estate. So that means it's in the periphery of the town. This is happening in Mumbai, in Thane. So it's happening in the periphery of the town. So nobody will come there. The people who are going to cause problems, they are more focused towards population centers, and an industrial estate is not a population center. That's one input. The next input was that I said that, you know what, you can't have business as usual. What we can do is that bare essential stuff can be done, and maybe if you want to have business as usual, the people who come in the night shift on Sunday night, they can be told to stay back, and the morning shift can be told to come a little early. So this is what you can do, and then we will interact with the local police station, and we will tell them that this is what is happening, and ensure that no activities happen outside. Like people don't stand outside the factory gate smoking and having a cup of tea. All those things will not happen. So it worked. So will it work again? I don't know. It worked that time.
Any experience which has kind of baffled you from a security point of view in corporate, or even if you want to go back to your defense days, any experience that has left you kind of, I don't know, thinking about it for a long time?
Yes, I like to go back. Um, so back in the day, we were running around after terrorists, militants. You call them what you want, and so one of the biggest. So I got a gallantry award, but my biggest award has been that whomever I took out for operations, I got everybody back. So that for me is the biggest thing. So then you have so the soldiers who go out with you. at times they don't think it out too well, or they don't have a holistic vision of what's going to happen. You have to think out for them. And at times we went for this operation, and it was early in the morning, and it was very early in the morning, around 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock in the morning, and we were walking from outside the village and walking, and I was falling into mud. Each step I was sinking into it, and I was coming out of it. And when daylight broke, I found that out of a stream of line of 10 people, I was the only person whose I was wet. My mud was right up to my upper thigh. So I asked my guys, I said, "What? Where the hell were you walking and coming from?" So they smile and tell, "Sir, we were looking at where you were falling, and we were ensuring that I did not step over there." So obviously, I felt very angry about it, sad about it. I laughed about it. So then I was just thinking. So that was my ability to read the risks which can potentially happen. And I was able to look at it. I was not caring about my physical discomfort or my physical personal hygiene at that point of time. I was more focused on ensuring that I could read the risks in the right way. And I think that has been my running that connecting feature, like you asked, Rajesh. That has been my connecting feature. I've been trying to look at the different risks which keep coming out. Maybe at that point of time, it was a uncomfortable decision. Maybe people laughed at me, but at the end of it, everybody came back home. So that was something which I laugh about it, and I say, okay, maybe I did have the right mindset.
So speaking of mindset, now is the perfect segue into the third phase, which is about moving into leadership development, coaching. How did that come about, Paul?
So Rajesh, one of the biggest wealth that I've gathered over my past few decades of my life is I've been able to get excellent set of friends. So I trust them, and they have been with me. So this was many years back, around some 4 years back. A friend of mine comes, meets me, we are having a drink, and the person tells me that, "How's your mental health?" I said, "Well, what crap? Don't. I'm perfectly fine." The person says that, "No, it's not question of I'm not trying to put you down. Have you thought about, because you are in a particularly stressful place and the way you do stuff, there are a lot of incidents which have happened in your life. Have you tried to work on that?" My first response was that this guy is telling bullshit. I don't want to speak with this chap. But then he told the magic thing. He told me that I too had a problem. I used the services of a psychologist, and it helped me. So then one thing led to another. I went to met a psychologist, and that psychologist was the person who told me that I think you have what it takes to be a coach. And that's how this coaching journey started. And like I tell, I am an evangelist now. I'm a coaching evangelist, and I like to speak about coaching at every given point of time. And I tell that I am a thinking coach, because each and every incident which happens to me, I try to look at it that how can this be a coaching discussion, or how can it affect the coaching fraternity. Like for example, there was this person who told me that, do I require coaching? So as if he felt it that a person going for coaching has got some debilitating disease in him, because of which he has to undergo coaching. So I wrote about that. I thought about it, and there was this person who said that you cannot coach me. So that became another way of thinking about it. So one thing led to other, and yeah, coaching happened, and I'm in a very happy place of mind presently.
And if I may ask at this stage, how did you choose your niche? Because you had very interesting career trajectory. And at that stage, when people say, what kind of coaching do you want to do? Did you have any thoughts or did it evolve?
So for me, the minute I started walking on this path of coaching, I started understanding that um, 85 to 90% of problems in our life is about relationships. The relationship with family members, relationship with peers, relationship with manager, relationship with the organization. It's always relationship. So it was a no-brainer that relationship is something that is people require to be coached on, and a lot of people do not know how to manage relationships. It is
And if I
always
may
a
add, sorry to interrupt, if I may add relationship with yourself. Uh,
yes. In fact, yes. Thank you. So in fact, each coaching interaction that I have, it becomes a holding up of a mirror for myself to see, to understand, to grow, to appreciate, and walk forward. So for me, that was relationship was something which was very much required. And the next thing which happened was about leadership. So I was in the army, so there was no what should I say? I had to be a leader because when you're walking out with people behind you and you're walking into harm's way, you had to be leader. You had to tell them what you wanted them to do and how they wanted to be doing. But I realized that a whole lot of people were not as lucky as me to have been through this particular process of being in the army. So they had some weird uh, thoughts on how leadership should be. A lot of time people used to tell me that, oh, you know what, in the army, people obey you with unquestioning obedience. I said that, no, it's not that way. The officer community in the Indian army, when you compare to the amount of ratio of the officers in a particular unit, they die more. It is because the Indian Army infantry logo is "Follow me," not "You go, I'll follow you." It is "Follow me," and it is you have to lead. So this leading stuff, and it's not that you have to keep delivering the Gettysburg Address at every given point of. No, it does not happen that way. You got 5 minutes. We're going into action. We tell the chap, you know what, this is what's going to happen, and this is what's going to do. I'm going to go ahead, walk with me. So that is leadership. So then that had to be, and that was a normal, that was a natural evolution for me to speak about or coach about leadership and change. The change is something which again happens, which people don't accept it. Even this promotion, a lot of times when people get promoted, at times you see that they were excellent individual contributors, but the minute they become a team leader, either they become slave drivers or they don't know how to uh, interact. So so these are a couple of things which I found that it was affecting people at all stages of corporate life.
No, Paul, thank you. I think those are great insights. But I'm going to segue nicely into three phases of your life, if I can say that, right? And one is your army life, the corporate life, and now into leadership, coaching, and as an individual. So my view or my perspective is that army, you are used to giving and taking orders. In your corporate life, because of the role that you did, it was, I think, very quick on decision making and taking those high impact decisions under stressful moments. And coaching, if I've understood coaching correctly, is completely different.
Yeah.
It's about not telling people what to do. It's about not giving orders or instructions to anybody, but it's more about listening and asking the right questions.
Totally.
How's the transition?
Oh, it was a painful one. It was a very painful one. But again, in the army part of it, a whole lot of times people believe that we only give orders. At times you have to ask. So there was this firefight which was happening, and people were running around left and right. And so I turned to my this the Havaldar near me. I said that, hey, you know what? This is not working. We cannot move from here. He said, oh, no, no, don't do this thing. We can go here. We can do this thing. Can you think of going from here? I said, no, I can't think from going from there. But what I can do is that I can call somebody else and tell them to come from behind direction. So what I'm saying is that it's not only giving orders. A good leader has to take some amount of input, but it's not clearly in the. So into coaching, coaching was a very painful, physically painful activity for me.
Physically,
Yeah, I'll tell you why. So I was told we have to coach, and this is what it is. Like you said, you have to listen, and you do not speak, and you have to give suggestions. And I am a solution man. I am Aqua Regia. I can give solutions to everything under this world. Uh, so this person, so in the initial discussions, my brain had given message to my mouth that keep your mouth shut. So that wiring worked, but the internal chatter never stopped. So after each coaching session, I had to massage the base of my throat because my throat used to pain because of the unsaid chatter. It was very painful, and it took me some amount of time. I had my doubts whether I would be able to continue, but then luckily I walked over that hump, and it has been very delightful. I feel happy about it now. Now I feel much more liberated. And like Rajesh, you said, ultimately stories about yourself. Ultimately, it was a mirror that I was holding to myself. Was I feeling afraid of silence? Was I feeling afraid of my own inadequacies? So in coaching, what I understood was that, which I liked very much, was that be comfortable with your silence and be happy with not knowing everything, which was so liberating for me.
Hmm. No, I think that's brilliant because a lot of coaches don't realize that and they fall into the trap of being the solution giver. So wonderful. So Rajesh, if you're okay, I'm gonna move to I've been waiting to do this for a long time, but I have a special, what do I say, segment for Paul today.
Oh my God.
I just have one question
Sure.
before we move into that, and
Yeah.
this is really building on from all the things that you've said so far about risk taking as the connecting thread across uh, courage, bravery. How important is courage in coaching? To be from a coach's perspective, how important is it for a coach to be courageous in coaching conversations?
I'll take one step back and speak about bravery and courage, which normally people say about uh, being in the army and bullets being fired at you and you are rushing over there. So those days, that for me was the epitome of being courageous and being brave and all those good things in the world and being a warrior and all that stuff. Uh, but now at this point of time, I realize that that was an adrenaline rush. Yes, was I brave? Yes. But now when I look back, I find people who fight diseases, life affecting diseases, they are the actual the brave guys, the courageous guys, because they have got to get up each and every day knowing that they're going to be in for a day of pain, and they still manage to smile. And I met some really courageous people, and oh my God, it is brilliant the way they go through life. That's about the past. And about coaching, you have to feel comfortable of walking into a darkened room. So there's a story back in the day when we were running after militants, and we had to do. I had to enter a darkened room. I had to follow a militant in a darkened room, or at least I was given information there was a militant in the darkened room. So unlike in those movies where you kick open the door, here you might die also because somebody might fire from there. So the door was kicked open, and then so now what? So either my men go in, or I go in. So I went in because I thought my brain's ability to do permutation combination was much more quicker and faster than the Jawan. They are physically much more tougher and faster than me, but my brain was much more. I walked inside and then I found the light switch, and then we walked on. So that is the case with coaching. When in coaching, the most important thing is that you have to be comfortable with the fact that you will be talking to a client who is not from your core area, who is from a totally different background, who has got nothing similar with you, and you're going to still be able to provide what should I say? Talk to them, be with them. So for me, walking into a darkened room, not knowing whether there's a hole, but just walking with that particular client, for me, that was very liberating. I don't know if it made sense.
No, that's fantastic. The fact that you're just walking into the unknown.
Yeah,
And in coaching, we are always walking into the unknown. We don't have any agenda of our own. We are led by where the client is going to take us. And sometimes it's an area and we are supposed to be support providers, right?
yeah,
And I think that's a beautiful analogy. And I can say, from a courage perspective, you've been doing great work in transgenders. I was reading about your profile again. That also needs courage to speak up for the transgender community and the work that you do in terms of change management. As a change creator, working for the transgender community is something as well that is
yeah.
very
Rajesh,
powerful.
so I had a very brief interaction with the transgender community, and I used to think that I have got difficulties in life. But when I spoke to them, I found that my difficulties pale in front of the issues that they deal with. I met this person, so by that time I was in the coaching mode, so I understood that I should not ask inappropriate questions. So I met a guy who looks like me. I asked him, so what's happening? He said, I'm fine, sir. And then I asked him, so what stage of transition are you? He says, I'm going to get physically operated within a year. I said, okay. I said, all the best for that. And then he tells that I've got a small problem. I said, okay, what's the problem? He says, I've just become a father of a child. I mean, coaching prepared me not to uh, fall flat on my face hearing this input while my mind was processing this. This gentleman is planning to change his gender after becoming a father, and he's from a small town in Uttar Pradesh and not from exactly a very influential family. So for me, I felt like saluting him with both my hands, telling that, "Oh my God, this is courage for you to have conviction." And my mentally, I saluted that person's wife who agreed to this entire transition. The amount of stress is, I mean, gigantic. You just can't even think about it. It is mind-boggling.
Wow, what a story!
Oh,
There was a movie also. There was a movie also. I think there was a South Indian movie. I think I saw on OTT, which is very powerful. Who's that actor? Which is uh, very famous actor who's actually performed a role like that. You know, I don't get the name of the movie, but yeah, pretty much similar to what you're saying, with a small child and fantastic. Uh, Needs a
no, it
lot of
is.
courage.
No, it is. It is so. So ultimately, it is the human story which is the most important thing. Which is that's what I liked about coaching. It's about human beings, people coming to you, talking to you, telling you stuff. And the biggest praise, I'm blowing my own trumpet. The biggest praise that I've got up till now is that I feel safe talking to you. So I say, okay, I think I'm going on the right direction.
Yeah, Pushkar, you're ready with your fun stuff.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I'm ready. Paul, are you ready?
Okay. I'm a coach. I'm ready to step into the unknown.
This is a rapid fire round, so the first thing that comes to your mind, nothing, you can't think, right?
Okay.
All right. So here we go. Major or coach, which hat do you wear often at home?
This is out of syllabus question. Oh, I vacillate. I vacillate. I try to be a coach, but more of a major.
Okay. What's more challenging, counter-terrorism ops or perfecting a gourmet meal for your family?
I'm a good cook. I like cooking. So cooking is not a problem. Counter-terrorism was more challenging.
Okay. So my next question has a reference to the famous Israeli form of defense that they teach, right? So if the Krav Maga had a corporate version, what would be your signature move in the boardroom battle?
Oh God. Step back. Give space.
Has it worked for you?
Uh, Now when I look back, I think it should have. I did not do it at that time. I was not trained in corporate Krav Maga, like you said.
Okay. All right. What is one surprising thing your military friends would say about your current life as a coach?
Ah, I keep quiet. I listen more. In fact, people get surprised that I listen more. They ask me, "Are you okay?" I said, "No, no, I'm listening." Then they ask me that, "How did this listening come about?" I said, "Yeah, life happens."
Okay, now it's my last question, so I'm not going to put you on the hot seat for more. But if today Coach Paul was coaching Major Paul, what are the three things that they would talk about?
That's interesting. Three things which, what are you looking for? That's the most important thing. Because the minute you understand what you're looking for, then you'll start working for it. That is one. When do you want it? Are you trying to speed up things which cannot be speeded up? And the third thing is that, can you take a deep breath and just wait? Things will settle down. You don't have to be moving all the time. So these are a couple of things that it would have helped me instead of me trying to run around trying to solve all the problems of the world at one go. It would have helped me.
Wow, these are all wonderful responses to some very very provocative questions from Pushkar.
So that wasn't my intent. So I'm done with my rapid fire.
Yeah, yeah, there are a couple of ones that I have, not as provocative, so you can take a deep breath now and take it easy. What would be your favorite motivational quote or a motivational song?
Motivational quote is, "This too shall pass, and tomorrow is a better day than what happened today."
All right. Uh, what's the word that you use quite often in your conversation? Yeah.
Yeah, so I used to use the word "you know what" a lot, and then
Okay.
somebody pointed out to me. So then I've started using that a little lesser.
Right.
Uh, but I always so I am known for looking at the good side of things. So it's like there was this in the Second World War. There was this pilot who had a plane crash, and then he became uh, a fighter pilot and the ace and all that. So his legs got amputated. One leg below the knee, other leg above the knee. It's a guy called Sir Douglas Bader. There's a book also. Read about it. So after his legs went, so when he went into flying, somebody asked him, "Oh, how is flying treating you without the legs?" He said that, "Oh my God, I can be a better pilot." He said, "Why? The blood flow does not rush up to my head so much, and when I have to do chin-ups, my body is much more lighter." I said, "Okay, I'll take that. I will look at everything positively."
Taking inspiration from that.
Yes.
All right. What triggers you? Not triggers in the literal sense, but what gets you triggered or lose your calm?
For me, one of the things which affects me very much is that when I see people with potential, people with potential, they don't work for what should I say, for utilizing the entire potential. That I feel very bad about it, because like you said, I always compare them with me. I said, oh my God, this guy has got this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I did not have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I had to jump through all these hoops and mud pots, and so that is something which triggers me a lot. And the next is a lack of discipline. I understand, especially about taking care of your physically, because when you take care of physically, it reflects a whole lot of stuff about you yourself. So, what is in your power? Are you doing that? For me, that is something which I feel that okay, you know what, people should take care of themselves physically. People should do something more better in a bit different way. Otherwise, I believe that I don't get triggered so much so fast.
And my last one, what's the craziest thing that you've done so far?
Again, in the army, out of the army.
The craziest, not necessarily the bravest or the most courageous. It's the craziest thing that you've done so far.
Craziest. So some days back, this was before pre-OTT days. There was nothing left to do at home, so I decided to do push-ups. So from the morning 8 o'clock to 8:30 to 9 o'clock, I started doing push-ups. By evening 5 o'clock, I did 1,000 push-ups. And then I thought I must have made a mistake in counting the number of push-ups, so I did it another day. I still could do it. So yeah, so self-flagellation by exercise. I know that.
So
And you've shared a story with us on that. That every year on your birthday, you do the
Yes,
number of push-ups as per your age. Is that right,
yes,
Paul?
yes. I still do it. I still been able to do it, but it's getting more and more difficult. Earlier, I'm a September born, so normally I used to start off by the 1st of September. But last year I had to begin training for the September stuff in August. This year I think I'll have to start by July.
So on that fun note, I think Pushkar, it's probably time to end this lovely chat. We can go on and hear your stories. So much for you to share with all of us. But I think it's probably time to close. Any last closing message that you'd like to share with all the listeners and with us?
Oh, first of all, I am truly humbled to be on this particular platform. I should have told this thing in the beginning. I forgot. But the intent is very important. That you guys thought me worthy of being on this platform. The other amazing people who were there, when I looked at it, I was amazed. The educators, the people who did different stuff, was for me being brought onto the same platform. Thank you. That is the most important thing. And the next is believe in yourself. There's always good to happen. Don't give up hope. If you can't run, you walk. If you can't walk, you crawl. If you can't crawl, you think of crawling.
Wonderful.
I think, Paul, all of our listeners are going to benefit from the diversity of experience and the conversations you brought to our recording today, to our session today,
Thank you.
because I think we interact with a lot of people when we invite people to be our guests or when people approach us, right? But this kind of diversity is very unique. So I think
Absolutely.
it was great having you, and thank you so much for sharing your thoughts as always.
Thank you.
Yeah. So would that be a right time to close our conversation and look forward to having you again sometime in
Thank
the
you.
future.
Thank you. Thank you. I
Thank,
look forward to meeting with you all without the focus of the spotlights on me.
Yeah.
thank you so much.
Thank you.